Those of you that don't know me or know my story, my journey, any of that, I want to share with you some of the pieces that brought me to where I am today. So I was a high school delinquent. I dropped out when I was maybe the beginning of my sophomore year. I barely showed up my freshman year. I constantly was failing out of school because I just was never in school. I was usually in a group home or some other sort of juvenile detention situation. Just habitually never in school, it was a lot of trouble in my youth. I became a teen mom and I had both of my daughters by the time I was 19 years old. I remember someone saying to me, "You're never going to be able to do anything more than work in retail. So if you're thinking that you're going to be able to start a career, good luck. The most that you might be able to do is become some sort of administrative assistant or something of that nature." And I remember that being the first time I was like, "Are you serious? Like, this is the life that you're predicting for me?" And it just wasn't acceptable. I couldn't accept that. I could not accept bringing up my daughters in a situation where I couldn't provide them with anything, because really what could my retail job provide to kids? It's just not what I needed to, and definitely not what I wanted to. So shortly after I turned 19, I got my first job at Fidelity Investments, and I had the opportunity to take my Series 7, which at the time was the third hardest exam in the United States. And that exam really basically enabled you to be a stockbroker, to trade equities and mutual funds, fixed income, and I passed. That was like a pivotal moment for me, because there were other people that had taken that exam that had master degrees, that had come from prestigious universities and whatnot, and here I was. I had gotten a GED and barely even went to high school when I did go. So that really made me feel like, okay, if I can accomplish that, then I'm never ever going to let someone tell me that I can't do something. That started my entrepreneurial journey. I stayed in the financial planning industry. I was eventually recruited by the time I was 22, and I became the director of financial planning. I was making over 6 figures a year. I felt like, yeah, I made it. I had a big, beautiful house. My kids could do anything they wanted. One of my daughters had a horse. We went on vacations to Hawaii and took cruises, and it was great financially. It was wonderful. But I felt like I was dying inside because I felt purposeless. I felt like no matter what, I just wasn't living my purpose. And I wasn't even really sure at the time what my purpose was. I just knew that I could motivate people, I could help them grow, and I loved business. I loved growing businesses. I became known for growing businesses. People would say, "Oh, you worked with a client of mine's client. I heard that you helped grow their practice." And I always had people coming to me to help them grow their business. And that was wonderful. Then I got divorced. So not so great. Really, I mean, anyone that's gone through a divorce knows that that's tough. And I'm not going to get into all the details. I really want to stay focused on where I am today. But needless to say, it was really tough and I lost everything. At the time, I had transitioned from financial planning to owning a couple of retail stores. I ended up having to close those. I lost my house. I felt like I just lost everything. I felt like I was worse off than I was when I was working in retail, when I first had my kids, when I was like 18 years old. And I decided, that's it, I've had enough. I'm going to create a business that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to do it my way. And I don't care what anyone else says, because anytime I've ever done that, I've always been extremely successful. Anytime that I've lost sight of my own unique creative process and got caught up in somebody else's process, I found myself really stuck, not having very much momentum, and feeling kind of like a failure. So fast forward to April of this year, I launched. I said, "Hey guys, I'm a business intuitive." I started doing readings. I started sharing my thought leadership and talking about business and building a tribe, and that was something that really resonated with the people that started following me. And they are the ones that told me, we need your help to find a tribe. I need to find my tribe, that's what I need. Because everyone kept asking me, how did you do what you did so quickly? I'm seeing you everywhere. And my answer consistently was, well, I'm not focused on my product or service, I'm focused on building my platform. I'm focused on finding my tribe. And that was the birth of What Vibes Your Tribe. If it wasn't for putting myself out there in the way that I did in that strategic manner, I wouldn't have given people a space to be able to share with me what they needed the most from me. So by doing so, I created a platform that I was able to instantly monetize. Within 6 weeks of launching, I sold out of my first coaching program. I booked myself solid. I grew my email list. And that was all before I learned how to do Facebook ads. That was all before I learned how to do any of the advanced marketing techniques that really do help you when you're at that point. But what I really realized was you have to build your tribe. And there's a new way to do it. And that's why I came out with the Tribatar. The ideal client avatar is the single most thing that halts your momentum. Anytime I have enrolled in courses or taken programs and started to really zero in on that avatar exercise, and especially how it's laid out in most programs, I basically walked away with thinking, I don't even know who I am or what I'm serving or what I'm doing. And I felt so far from my goal and lost that I had to step away from it. And so when I reverse engineered my own process, I said, okay, this is so obvious. It's the tribe, the Tribatar. That's what it's all about, because online marketing is different. When you're selling yourself, your thought process, your services, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're an internet marketer and you are involved in network marketing, or you are an avid fisherman and you want to make a business helping other people learn about fishing, or that's, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what your passion is, trust me, there's a market for it. What I realized in doing all of that was none of it matters, because we have become, like, as society, we've become more sophisticated. That's why these email funnels aren't working. That's why these complicated sales strategies and marketing techniques that used to work, you used to be able to send out an email blast and, people would just be buying stuff from you like crazy. But that doesn't work anymore, because we're becoming more educated as a society, and we're getting smarter, and plus we're getting flooded with that all the time. That's why it's so important for you to build your tribe. And it's not as hard as it might seem. It's just the process that is always given to us to use is an outdated model, and this is what we're moving towards. So if you can put that structure and that framework into your passion and your purposes, that's going to build a platform for you to be able to monetize. And you're also going to get access to my copywriter, who has facilitated research on the psychology of language at prestigious universities like Harvard, Stanford, Tufts, and he's going to be doing Tribe Talk Tuesdays, so he'll be on hand to give you feedback on any of your messaging or your content. Not only that, you can see all the modules for yourself. It's just a ton of information. I'm going to be doing Media Tribe, which shows you how to contribute to major platforms, how to pitch the media yourself, and completely bypass PR, because when you're at the stages of starting your business, the extra money just isn't there. I know that. So I'm giving you all the tools and resources to do this yourself. And I already did this. This isn't something that I'm just talking about. Not only did I just launch my business in April and immediately monetized it, but I also, in that short time frame, became a contributor for Huffington Post, specifically to talk about monetizing your passions and doing what you love full time. The opportunities that come when you position yourself and really focus on building your tribe are unlimited. And if you can do that, you can monetize your passions. And what that means is that you can do whatever it is that you love full time, and you can have the freedom to enjoy the other things that you love, like your family and traveling and whatever else it is. It's putting you in control. It's not putting you in a place where you're a slave to your business and you have to spend hours and hours and hours and not be able to do anything and enjoy your family. There's definitely a balance. It is hard work, but by giving you this framework and these resources, if you do the exercises, if you learn the process, there should be no reason why you can't start living your passion immediately. So I really hope that you'll join us, because I want to support you. I want to see you do what you love full time, leave your corporate career if that's what you're in, or really have your business take off. Maybe you already have a brick and mortar business that does really well, but you're struggling to get yourself online. Because once you can get your business online, you can also make that scalable and start creating passive income for yourself that just comes in. It's a product or service that you create one time and it just keeps coming in. Though all those tools, they enable your business to grow exponentially. So I really am so excited for you to join us. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. My email is danielle@daniellesabrina.com. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much. Bye.